Among the drawings, there is no fourth wave of elementals, as in, the history of this metropolis is not yet completed. The entire cartoon will be that fourth wave of fire elementals.
Your names? And how do we spell that? How about we just go with Bernie and Cinder?
The fire people represent Asian cultures. I think that was obvious. I will point out the similarities later. And this moment is very similar to real practice, because we all know Jackie Chan, whose actual name is Chen Gansheng, but his Australian colleagues had a hard time pronouncing it, so they gave him a different name, Jack Jr., later Jackie. Other Eastern names also changed slightly upon immigration to the West.
Watch it, Sparky!
Pixar created an amazing world of 4 elements. Although, no, 3. The whole city, every detail is arranged according to the nature of the 3 elements. It's like in Zootopia, but slightly different. A large number of leaking pipes is an important Chekhov's gun for the future.
This shop is dream of our family. Someday it'll all be yours.
An important promise in Amber's life and an important plot point. The goal of inheriting the shop will be a key link in her conflict with herself, the conflict with her father, and also with Wade. Everything will revolve around this shop. During these shots, all land businesses changed to fire businesses. In this area, there were only all sorts of garden, tree house, evergreen, that is a region of earth. But with the development of the store and with the wave of new immigrants, the entire area was filled with fiery businesses. All this is literally Chinatown. It will even be called Firetown. In general, the main author of the picture, Peter Sohn, was a Korean whose family immigrated to the United States. The entire cartoon is literally his biography. He also later married a non-Korean woman.
2 sugar pops, please.
A subtle demonstration of Amber's potential. She's doing what she likes in a place where isn't happy.
Water. Nobody waters down fire.
Yeah! Shasharisha!
It's not exactly a win, but I find it amusing how they tone down the racist remarks by simply replacing races with elements. Water. Sparkies.
Watch it, Sparky!
Cloud puffs.
Cloud puffs blowing some ball around.
It's in your blood.
That's racist.
Your soul.
That's racist.
Your eyes.
That's gay.
That's homophobic.
That's black.
That's racist.
Damn.
That's not how this works!
Why you lose temper?
I don't know. He was pushing and
When you can do that and not lose temper, then you will be ready to take over shop.
The specific goal of getting a shop acquired a specific condition. To learn self-control, Wade will teach her that
Oh, you are tense because of big red dot and a broil.
I guess. Done.
damn, she's kinda bad though. Awesome character designs. The animators had to simultaneously come up with both the appearance of the characters and their 3D generation. That is, it's one thing to draw a silhouette of Amber and Wade on paper, you also need to coordinate this with how they will look in the final render. What if Wade is too transparent? What if Amber is too bright? What if the contours of the face merged with the fire on the head? But the animators did everything right. I actually heard that Elemental was the most technically difficult cartoon for Pixar. That is, 5 years ago they would not have been able to recreate such graphics. But the animators succeeded. The visuals are simply amazing. I also especially like Amber's dress, made of some kind of fireproof crystals or stones.
Yo, yo, yo! Yo, yo, yo! June Bloom is coming, and you just got to be my date, my queen.
Sorry, buddy. Elements don't mix.
Ask yourself a question. Why did they add Claude to the cartoon? Firstly, for Amber's reaction to relationships with other elements, and secondly, to demonstrate that there are guys who like other elements.
As ordered.
Throughout the cartoon, there will be a lot of funny puns on the elements. Hot logs, Toyota, which is also included in the lore because Toyota is a Japanese brand and fire is Asia. A hidden detail. In the fire area, there are already problems with water leakage.
I got it, Ashwa.
It will show me you are able to take over.
You got it, Ashwa.
Amber addresses her father as Ashwa, although his name is either Bernie or Birdie. The name Ashwa has different meanings, but I guess the name is associated with the fire god Agni.
Be back in 5 minutes!
I'm afraid I'm gonna have to write you a ticket. I'm a city inspector, and this pipe is definitely not up to code. I gotta get these to City Hall before the end of my shift.
Change of action due to a specific reason. Amber's temper, that is, Wade's appearance, was not an accident, and his profession is connected with the problem of negligence towards the fire people. More on this later. Firetown is designated by the letters S and C. These are the chemical elements sulfur and carbon. Sulfur is more common at volcanoes, and carbon is, well, carbon. Each element not only has its own atmosphere, but also its own musical accompaniment. The earth has some kind of jungle. The water ones have jazz. The fiery ones have something exotic or oriental. Air people generally have electronic music. But I think this is more related to the game and not specifically to the air people.
Come on, Raph! Are your eyes in the back of your head?
I bet this is connected to that fluffin' leak.
Amber and I could track the water from her shop to find the source of the leak.
And there'd be no need to touch my
Real
dad's
wave
shop.
of fans
Call
in
in
the
a city
stadium.
crew to fix whatever we find.
You can find the leak and get a crew to fix it by then. Those tickets are forgiven.
All events naturally follow one another. Each time a specific goal is set with a specific meaning.
So we're searching for water somewhere in a canal? Those canals go everywhere. Get in.
The creators very cleverly play off the basics of the cartoon every time. The basis is the world of the 4 elements. That's it. This is such a simple and elementary foundation, but it is so easy to build on. And every time you can use or create cool solutions on how to move the plot forward.
Yeah, right there. Nothing weird going on here.
Just a little pruning.
My dad's retiring and I'll be taking over. Someday.
It must be nice knowing what you're gonna do.
There's a word in Firish. Dishok.
Diesel.
It means embrace the light while it burns, because it...
You don't have forever to say what you need to say.
Tishok is an important detail for the future.
That's Garden Central Station. I'd always wanted to see one. It's the only flower that can thrive in any environment, fire included. But they said our fire was too dangerous, and they wouldn't let us in. The building flooded a few years later, so I missed my one chance to see a Vivisteria.
Vivisteria is just an awesome idea. Come up with something that combines all 4 elements. Something universal. A symbol of the unity of the 4 elements. Vivisteria also told us about Amber's other goal, to see a flower. This goal was not achieved, which leaves the question, will she ever see blooming Vivisteria?
You must have been so scared.
I was. How do you do that? Draw people in. You got a whole stadium to connect with you. I can't even connect with one customer.
Amber revealed the meaning of the stadium scene. To be honest, I didn't immediately understand this when watching it, but Amber explained everything thoroughly. It turns out that Wade and Amber are completely opposite, which is obvious. But it's one thing when their elements are opposite, another thing when their souls and characters are completely different. Even though I understood their differences, I didn't immediately understand the meaning of the stadium scene.
Started out on a one-way train. Always knew where I was going. Would you mind it if I said I'm for you? If it's real, then darling, let me.
Who is this god?
The The dating scene is filled with cool details. Firstly, it's a great song. I even added it to my playlist, which I rarely do. Secondly, Amber began to control herself, and all thanks to communication with Wade, not because he taught her this, but because Amber began to do what she wants. You will understand this later. I also liked how they cleverly played with the photographs. At first it seems like a joke that Amber lit up the photos, but then it turns out that this was done on purpose so that Amber's mom wouldn't see the water guy there. And among all the One Element couples, Amber and Wade are the only ones of different races.
Whoa.
It's the minerals.
Awesome!
Another beauty of the elemental world. History changed Amber's and my attitude towards this water subway. Amber used to look at these splashes of water with annoyance, but now she sees beauty in it.
Delivery for Amber Lumen!
Flowers for Amber? Excuse me, these are so beautiful. What are you doing here?
I got bad news.
Very multi-layered action. Wade gave Amber flowers, but with the goal of sneaking into their home unnoticed. Like he kind of gave her flowers as a boyfriend, but as if he didn't give her flowers as a boyfriend. Also, Amber's mom again witnessed romance in Amber's life energy, but without knowing who the gift was from.
You are city inspector?
No! Right?
Right! I am not an inspector. Actually, after the heat dies down, that's really good. See?
I understood the meaning of the scene right away. Wade managed to combine incompatible elements and something good came out, which means that it is possible for water and fire to become something special together. Moreover, this is a real practice from our world, where foreign cuisine is slightly edited to suit the local tastes. This happens everywhere, and spicy food is the most common example.
That I gotta shut down and destroy his dream? I think I'm failing. My Ashva should have retired years. How do you repay a sacrifice that big?
I think you're even more beautiful.
The animators managed to use the shortcomings as an advantage. It was a difficult task for them to render the elementals so that they seemed alive, but it is this detail that makes the characters even more alive. You see, when the director has a task, for example to show the sadness of a character, the filmmakers usually get out of it using cold tones, the sad face of the actor, add rain. In animation, you can show such sadness with exaggerated faces, much sadder than any actor. But in Elemental, the characters themselves reflect their spiritual state with their element. Amber literally fades out. This is such an obvious and simple but such a brilliant way to demonstrate the emotional background of the characters. Looking at her, I can feel myself fading away. The director again convinces us of the possibility of harmony between water and fire. But, indeed, the sun, as the element of fire, and the ocean, the element of water, perfectly combine with each other, creating one of the most beautiful views on planet Earth.
I'm a mess.
I think you're even more beautiful.
Correct development of the relationship between Wade and Amber. We smoothly moved from sideways glances towards the water guys to a pleasant waterfall gazing. Both Amber and we are just glad to hear these words from Wade.
Oh, look what your fire did to his sand. It's glass. It looks like a Vivisteria flower.
I know how to seal those doors.
According to the elemental canon, fire people can control their heat. Even though their bodies are literal fire, they can pick up objects without setting them ablaze. That is, Amber can walk on the beach without turning all the sand into glass. However, in this situation, due to her emotional state, Amber subconsciously melted the sand, which led to two important points: the ball with Vivisteria and the idea of how to seal the gate. Both of these points are important for the future.
something on Amber? Love!
Even Cinder's superstitious fortune-telling is based on the roots of the cartoon. I myself am not superstitious. I don't believe in fortune-telling, but in this cartoon it's obvious that the flame of fire elementals is literally the projection of their vital energy. Yes, like Stan's, this is a JoJo reference. So Amber's flame has changed its smell since love now burns in her soul. The authors again played on the roots of the cartoon as an advantage.
Amber! Do we hug or wave or don't want to put you out?
Several times already the water guys could not touch the fire guys because, well, of course they can extinguish them.
It's right there.
Do you know why this was mentioned many times and why this was done intentionally? To finally convince us that this is impossible, so that in the future scene we will be as shocked as possible, but more on that later.
Wade hadn't stopped talking about you since the day you met. The boy is smitten. I just didn't know she'd be so smoky.
Maybe after dinner we play the crying game?
You try to cry?
We try not to cry.
This is almost unfair because I have literally never cried.
Butterfly. Windshield wipers. Half a butterfly.
An important Chekhov gun for the future.
An old man on his deathbed remembers the summer he fell in love. Almost out of time. Ember, when I met you, I thought I was drowning. That light inside you has made me feel so alive. And all I want now is to be near it. Near you.
I can't believe that both Amber and I actually believed in her tears. This is just an awesome scene with classic conditions. An impossible goal is set to make Amber cry. Not only are fire guys not inclined to do this, but she also never cried. What is the specific reason to do the impossible?
Near you. Together.
A new step forward in Amber and Wade's relationship. He literally confessed his love to her, which in theory should make Amber happy, but her internal barrier in the face of her father still doesn't allow her to love Wade. That is, Amber's very love for Wade became the cause of these tears. The impossible is absolutely justified. Another detail, Amber and Wade form yin-yang for a second.
I can't believe she basically offered me a job. I could move out, make glass in a faraway city, do whatever I want.
What is this about?
Nothing. Everything. I don't think I actually do want to run the shop. That's what my temper has been trying to tell me. But I never once asked what I wanted to do. Because the only way to repay a sacrifice so big, by sacrificing your life too.
Amber finally understood the meaning of her explosions. Now the whole story seemed to have collapsed to the ground. Amber wants to date Water Guy. She doesn't want to run the shop anymore. What will her mother say? What will her father say? The opinion of the parents is especially important here because Amber herself said,
"Don't you dare judge me! You don't know what it's like to have parents who gave up everything for you. By sacrificing your life too."
She cannot just go and live freely for the sake of the family's past. This is the specific reason for Amber's suffering.
I prove it! Come with me! And then you must light these with your fire. It cannot be.
What are you doing?
Once again, an impossible task was set and justifiably completed. When I watched it for the first time, at this stage, I really knew that Wade was going to somehow set the stick on fire, but I couldn't figure out how. I thought maybe he would boil his body, but no, it wouldn't do anything. Maybe he'll just set it on fire with a match, but not that effective for the plot. But Wade managed to figure out how. This idea came to him from the glow of Amber and the refraction at the badge moment. What's also important is that Amber set the stick on fire with her energy, but Wade also used Amber's energy. That is, it turns out that Amber set fire to both sticks, which will not give the desired effect. But in fact, Amber's light passed through Wade's water, that is, through his life energy. It turns out that Wade did put his energy into the lighting the stick.
So I have this made for you.
Hold on. I think I have something to show you. And you're gonna need a pair of boots. I know you think you have to end this, but do you still want to see a Vivisteria? Almost there. Try to breathe slow and steady.
That was amazing! I finally saw Vivisteria!
The scene with Vivisteria is also special. When Amber finally decided to break up with Wade, he reminded her of that very symbol of the unity of all 4 elements. This symbolizes the possibility of their compatibility and was Amber's dream, which only Wade could give her. After all, the tree was filled with what? Of course it is water, the opposite of Amber. That is, Amber was able to fulfill her dream thanks to the opposite element. Fire and water together, on the contrary, are capable of more than separately.
No.
Let's see what happens.
Actually could be a disaster. I could vaporize you. You could extinguish me.
I'm so lucky.
Contact finally happened. It turns out that fire and water can come into contact with each other without damage. Fire people can hold objects without setting them on fire, and water people can touch things without leaving them met. All other water and fire creatures in general do not like each other, and Amber and Wade were the first representatives of their elements to decide to take a first step.
I'm so lucky I have you. I am so proud to have you take over my life's work.
You're fire, I'm water. I mean, come on, that's crazy, right? But because of you, I learned to embrace the light while it burns. Disok. I love you, Ember Lumen.
After these words, Amber immediately began to shine brighter.
No, I don't.
That's not true. I didn't read it. It's true love.
Go!
You have been seeing water? You will not take over the shop.
The scene in which all the storylines came together. The celebration of the shop transfer into the hands of Amber is an important point for all parties. Today, her fate will be decided, whether she will become her father's heir or whether she will choose Wade and live for herself. Also, Mom's fortune telling. Everyone witnessed the fate of Amber and Wade. A father who for all his life hated water inspectors and the timer with leaking water. As a result, Amber lost both Wade and her father's trust. She decided to choose Dad, but what would be the specific reason for ultimately choosing Wade?
The flame! Let me go!
You came back!
And miss all this? The flame is done!
No! This is my father's whole life! I'm not— Throw me that lantern! No. Oh, wait.
Wade and Amber repeat the fate of her parents. They also had a natural disaster, but this time it was the element of water. Then the husband also saved the blue flame with a lantern.
The water will come in and you'll be snuffed out.
But you're evaporating! I don't know what to do!
You gave me something people search for their whole lives.
But I can't exist in a world without you. I love you, Wade.
Amber has finally accepted her true desires. What could be more valuable than giving your life for what is important to you? Due to the negligent attitude towards the fire people, no one monitored the problem of water leakage.
Plus, the city isn't made with fire people in mind.
In the end, it is the water guy who sacrifices everything to protect the fire girl.
This shop is dream of our family. I am so proud to have you take over my life's work.
I don't want to run the shop. I know that was your dream. It's not mine.
Ember, the shop was never the dream. You were the dream. You were always the dream.
Semantic plot twist. All this time, Amber and I thought that her father's main dream was to own a shop. But how obvious and elementary is this disclosure, where the father says that his dream is the happiness of his daughter? This is so elementary that it's a shame that we ourselves didn't think of it. Now everything has become clear. Amber initially had to think about her happiness so that her parents would be happy from this. If she had understood this detail from the very beginning, then her relationship with Wade would have been perfect from the very beginning, and maybe he wouldn't have to sacrifice himself.
Butterfly. Windshield wipers. Half a butterfly. I want to explore the world with you, Wade. I want to have you with me in my life.
Wade came back to life again thanks to the basics of the elemental world. Simple physics, all that remains is to bring Wade to tears with the help of pre-prepared details, where the final tears will be in Amber's return declaration of love to Wade.
You, Amber. My queen.
Claude's new crush wears gloves. Actually, Amber did about the same thing when she put on her shoes to go to the Vivisteria. That is, in theory, she could accept flowers from Claude if she wanted.
Hey!
Something happens that we would not have believed at the very beginning of the cartoon. The water enters the fire shop and is welcome here. Well, here, as usual, everything is justified.
I'm sorry the internship is so far away.
When I left Fireland, I gave my father the Bok soul. It is the highest form of respect, but my father did not return the vow. The shop was never the dream. You were always the dream.
The cartoon began with the arrival of Amber's parents in the city and ends with the departure of the new couple from the city. And this time, when he parted with a close relative, Bernie still received Pagso, which he had been missing since the very day he left his native lands. Maybe this is exactly what he wanted when said that his dream was Amber,
You were always the dream.
and that he was carrying the burden of parting with his family.
This is burden I still carry.
Bernie dreamed that his daughter would simply love him the way his parents did not love him. Just one event entailed the entire history of the Lumini family.
I really do love it when your light does that.